Hello and welcome. My name is Heather Ginsberg, and today we are here at the SAWS Environmental Lab, which is located at the Stephen M. Klaus Water Recycling Center. Here is where we make sure that we keep our water safe and that we make sure that our wastewater is safe to be released back into the environment. We are going to go inside and learn all about what happens at this accredited lab. We're going to speak with Director Veronica Godley and learn all about it. Now here we are inside the reception area with Veronica. Hi Veronica, thank you so much for having us today.
Hello Heather, thank you for joining us. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm looking forward to learning about the lab.
Great.
So my first question is, what is the role of the laboratory?
Well, the role of the laboratory is really to provide support throughout SAWS service area. So basically we analyze samples throughout the city, receiving a variety of samples within our laboratory. And we are an accredited lab that provides us the ability to perform analysis in accordance with regulatory requirements.
Interesting. So what does it mean to be accredited and why is that important?
To be accredited means that we as a lab follow strict rules and procedures within our lab that are governed by our accreditation. And through those requirements, that accreditation provides that avenue to ensure that we're following all the guidelines and procedures that are required for a laboratory that provides water and wastewater analysis.
Sounds like a lot of work goes into that. So how many employees work here?
We have 23 employees that work here, with 16 of those employees working on the bench. And then we have 7 of the employees who provide operations and support, like reviewing reports, doing validation, running the operations of the lab, and just doing strategic planning.
So when you are hiring a new staff member, what types of educational backgrounds and experience are you looking for?
We look for a variety of experience when we hire people within our laboratory. We have analysts, we have chemists, and we have senior chemists within our laboratory. As an analyst, they come in having a bachelor's or some type of degree in science. And then as a chemist, they come in with 2 to 3 years of experience with a degree in science as well. And then your senior chemist is just a little bit more experience with also a degree in science. Now, as a senior chemist, they come in with the ability to be able to operate, run, and supervise operations of a particular section. Now, when we talk about degrees, the science degrees, that can be in chemistry, that can be in biology, that can even be in engineering. We're looking for individuals who want to be in the lab and to expand that out. And there's so many different fields in science nowadays within colleges.
Speaking about the work, how many samples do you collect and analyze in, say, a year?
It's a lot. We do about little over 33,000 samples a year. That's how many samples come into our lab. But those 33,000 samples equate to about 230,000 analyses within this laboratory, which is quite a lot in regards to the number of staff members that we have and how effective we get our work out in a timely manner.
We would love for you to show us everything you do here.
Okay, well, let's go. But before we go, we have to make sure that we are following our safety protocols within the laboratory. So I'm gonna give you a safety coat, a lab coat. Make sure you have your safety glasses, and then we'll actually make sure you have the proper footing shoes as well. And then also I'll show you some things in regards to how we ensure that our employees remain safe within the laboratory.
Let's go get our personal protective equipment and have a look. Well, Veronica, how do I look? Am I ready?
Yes, Heather, you are ready. You have your lab coat, you have your safety glasses, and you have your boots.
Safety first.
Well, let's go. Our first stop is the login area.
Lead the way. Okay, Veronica, I'm guessing that this is the login area.
Yes, it is. It is our login area, and behind me you'll see where we're receiving samples. And now I'm going to turn you over to our senior chemist, Mr. Juan Salgado.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Juan. My understanding is this is the very first place all samples from the entire city come. Can you tell me where those samples come from?
Yes, we have 3 wastewater plants. That's our primary client. So all samples that come in are coming from all over the city. primarily it's going to be the 3 wastewater plants, but we also take samples for water quality, and that's pretty much just making sure that the water that you're consuming is safe for consumption.
Can you tell me what the procedure is when a sample comes into the lab?
So when we receive samples, usually samplers will come to the back door and we will go ahead and receive on them, we'll accept them, but we're gonna do a lot of checks. So we're gonna do a temperature check, a pH check, and we're gonna just make sure that the sample is suitable for testing before we accept them. At that point, then we go into and log them into our LIMS system. That's a Laboratory Information Management System. That's actually like a data hub for the lab. So we are gonna enter in all of the information for the samples into that system, and everyone in the lab on the bench will be able to see what has been coming into the lab for testing. Now, after they perform their tests, they actually enter all of the data back into the LIMS system. So then that, again, that's a data hub for the lab. So our final product here at the lab is gonna be a final report, and that final report consists of all of the information that we have collected for those samples that we've been receiving.
Wow, I can see this is a very important job. So this is kind of like the heart of the operation.
Yep, that's what we call it, the heart of the lab.
Thank you so much, Juan, for showing us everything that happens in the login and receiving area. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome, Heather. I believe you're going to be headed to the microbiology section next.
Cool. So here we are in the microbiology lab with Deborah Almaraz. Deborah, what is the role of the microbiology lab to our operations at SAWS?
Well, here in the lab, we test for bacteria in drinking water and wastewater samples.
Why is that important?
Because you do not want bacteria in your drinking water because it will cause sickness.
Do you have any positive bacteria samples of drinking water that you could show us today?
Not today, and it's very rare that we do find positive samples in our drinking water, but we do have a positive sample from our wastewater treatment plant. Here is a sample tray that contains positive total coliform bacteria. They are yellow. If you look at them under the UV lamp, they will fluoresce, and that indicates that it is E. coli positive.
Okay, so you're testing for 2 things with this one card.
Yes.
So this sample is positive for bacteria, as you mentioned, and as we've seen. What's the next step?
I immediately contact the plant managers of the positive sample, and then they take it from there.
It is very clear to me that what you do here in this microbiology lab is incredibly important to SAWS operations and keeping us all safe. Thank you so much for taking the time to show us around today.
Thank you, Heather, and you are now going to General Chemistry Department.
Thank you. Okay, folks, now we are in the General Chemistry Lab with Ana Polanco Ramos. Hi, Ana.
Hi, Heather.
So could you tell us a little bit about how many analysis that this lab does?
So this lab does about 20 different analyses, and thousands of samples come through here every year.
Okay, so that's a lot of tests that you do. Maybe could you tell us a little bit about one?
Okay, so I will tell you about the alkalinity test that measures the changes in pH. That allows the plants to know how much buffering system they have in their water on the different stages of treatment. And we want to know that so that the water is as clear as possible and is safe to put back into the environment.
What's another test that you do here in the lab that you could explain?
So we do total suspended solids. So that test measures how much dissolved solids, it could be anything from soil, sediment, some of the other elements, that's still suspended in the water. That helps the plant operators know how well their systems are operating in the different stages of treatment at the wastewater treatment plant.
So let me ask you this, Ana. What if you had a test that demonstrated that there were too many suspended solids in the water?
We would notify the operators as soon as we know the results of our test, and they would make adjustments in their system so that they can bring it back to where it needs to be.
I can see how important communications is between the laboratory and the different plants, that's for sure.
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you so much, Anna, for showing us around the general chemistry lab today.
You are so welcome, Heather, but you're not finished with me yet.
Oh, really?
We are going to be traveling to the instrumentation laboratory.
Excellent. I'll follow you. Lucky for us, we are still here with Anna. Anna, tell me what happens here. Where are we?
We are in the instrument laboratory where we are doing metals analysis in this laboratory.
Excellent. So in this lab, you focus on metals. So on the drinking water side, what metals do you focus on?
So primary concern is lead and copper.
Is there a safe level of lead in drinking water?
No, there is not, Heather.
Thank you so much for showing us the metals instrumentation lab. Where are we headed next?
We are headed to the organics laboratory where you'll see a whole new set of instrumentation.
Awesome, let's go. We've now made our way to the organics instrumentation lab. Anna, tell us what happens here.
We analyze for pesticides and petroleum byproducts.
Ah, okay, a word I understand, pesticides. So why is it important that you are testing for things like pesticides?
So pesticides, as you well know, some people use those to take care of any bug populations around the home or in our lawns. And so that can potentially go into our water system, water tables.
I see why it's really important that we test for those types of compounds. I also see how it's equally important that us as homeowners do our part and do not put these chemicals into our water system.
That is so true, Heather. Otherwise, we will be seeing them in our laboratory.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy day to show us around today, Anna. We really appreciate it.
You're so welcome, Heather. But now I think you're going to be going to quality control.
Thank you. As you can see, we are no longer in a laboratory environment. We are in an office environment because we are now joined by Monica Schaefer from the Quality Control Department here at SAWS. Hi, Monica.
Hello, Heather.
In general, why is it important for a water utility to have a water quality department?
Well, our laboratory is accredited by the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, which is the state agency that is responsible for ensuring that all our water is safe to drink. And because we are accredited, we have a legal obligation to make sure that the data we report is of high quality.
Why is it important that the data you report is of high quality, in a practical sense?
Well, within SAWS, the other departments that use the information that we provide to them use that data to make decisions about the operations of the company. Therefore, it's super important that the data we give them be as accurate as possible so that they can make good decisions.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. So when you're talking about data, I'm automatically thinking that that probably involves a lot of reports.
Yes.
What kind of reports or how many reports does your department generate?
On a daily basis, the people in this department generate between 40 and 50 reports.
That's amazing. Well, it makes sense. Good data means good decisions. I can see why this department is very important to our company. Thank you for sharing what you do with us today, Monica.
Thank you. It was my pleasure, Heather.
Well, Heather, I see that you finished your tour. So what do you think?
Wow. I don't know where to start. What an incredible day today, learning all about all the steps that the water samples and wastewater samples have to go through to make sure that our drinking water is safe, to make sure that our wastewater is safe before we discharge it into the environment. All of the reports and quality assurance that you all do here. It is so cool, and I'm so glad that we got to come here today. Thank you.
You are quite welcome, and I'm so glad our team was able to give you just a glimpse of what we do in the lab, not only for SAWS as our working place, but also for our community and our environment.
Thank you for what you do, Veronica.
You're quite welcome again.
So there you have it, folks, a tour of our SAWS Environmental Lab. If you would like to learn more, check us out at saws.org. See you next time.